Hello friends, welcome back in the session of pharmacy practice and also welcome in my YouTube channel. I hope you have subscribed my channel. In today's session, students we will come across with the unit number 1 in that point C, adverse drug reactions. In the last session we have come across with the drug interactions and today we will discuss regarding the adverse drug reactions. First of all, what is adverse drug reactions? Any noxious change which is suspected to be due to the drug. Noxious means unwanted, painful, any change which is problematic for us, it is called noxious. So when we are taking regular doses treatment, when you are taking the drug at proper dose and proper sequence in the regular therapy, so at that dose also if you are getting the noxious, unwanted and the dangerous symptoms, it is nothing but the adverse drug reactions. It may require treatment or decrease in dose and caution in future use of the same drug. Not all the people may have these adverse drug reactions. It may be rare. And it may be unpredictable also, because in case of the drug like tetracycline or drug like the sulfonylureas or the drug like digitalis, so the symptoms won't occur in all cases. It will occur in only some cases, few cases, but it may occur. You cannot deny. So it is nothing but the adverse drug reactions. So if you are knowing that this drug may produce that adverse drug reactions, you should take it very cautiously. And now adverse events. What is adverse drug events? Any untoward occurrence that may present during medical treatments. So the adverse event is a part of adverse drug reactions, but all the adverse drug reactions are not adverse events. Adverse events are not related with adverse drug reactions, they are part of adverse drug reactions. So any untoward occurrence may present during medical treatments, so it is an event it may produce, which is the adverse one, but does not necessarily have causal relationship with the treatments, so it is called adverse events. Now simply suppose if you are treating a patients with hypertension, right, and during hypertension suddenly if patient is having hyperthermia, if patient is having the increase in temperature, so that condition will be called as adverse events. Suddenly if any patients is showing decline in RBC, it will be adverse events. So it doesn't have any correlation with drug-drug interactions. Any event which occurs when during therapy, if it develops, it is called adverse events. Now incidence of ADR, adverse drug reactions. So what are the various incidences which are correlating with this? In that, first is polypharmacy. As in last presentation also I have discussed with you what is polypharmacy. When you are taking 2 or more drugs at the same time, it will produce the polypharmacy. Polypharmacy is nothing but when you are taking unnecessarily more drugs and that more drugs are able to produce the drug interactions and it may produce the adverse drug reactions. So it is called polypharmacy. Next is elderly. If patient is having elder age above 65 years old, so these patients are more prone to have these adverse drug reactions. Next is children, below 5-year children, they are also very sensitive to have these adverse drug reactions. Patients with multiple DCS, if patient is having n number of DCS at the same time, suppose if person having diabetic, also person is having a hypertension, asthma at the same time, so that person may have these adverse drug reactions. Pregnancy, because pregnant woman is more sensitive for the drugs. Even she should not take paracetamol without the prescription, without consulting her gynecologist, because it may produce abortion that have already happened. especially in case of the first trimester. She should not take any drug without the consulting. Malnutrition. In our area, we already know in our Nandurbar region, lots of people are not getting their balanced diet. So due to the malnutrition also, we may have this adverse reaction because we are not having sufficient immunity to fight against the bacteria and viruses. So that's why it may produce adverse reactions. Immunosuppression. In some cases, the immunity has been suppressed. Suppose if any person is taking the immunosuppression for a longer period, in case of asthma or in case of the COPD, if you are taking the drug which will suppress the immunity, or in case of the cancer treatment, what we are doing? We are giving the immunosuppressants. So in that case also, the immunity already has been suppressed. Also in case of the patients who have already having less WBC count, already suppressed person is there, or the person who have recently done the transplantation, kidney transplantation, eye transplantation, heart transplantation, so they are the immunosuppressed persons. They are also more prone to have ADR. Drug abusers and addicts, because these drug abusers are doing drastic effects on their vital organs like kidney, liver, brain, so they are also prone to have this ADR. Now it may develop immediately or prolong, and it may also produce after stopping also. After stopping it will produce the, it is called the withdrawal symptoms after stopping. Now grading of severity of adverse drug reactions. In minor, no therapy is required, antidote or prolongation of hospitalization is required. In case of minors, if it happens, so we have to give the antidote or prolongation of hospitalization. In a moderate, for why we require this prolongation of hospitalization? For monitoring the patients. We should monitor whether this patient is having any other consequences or not. In moderate, it requires changes in the drug therapy, specific treatment or prolonged hospital stay. In case of severe, potentially life-threatening, causes permanent damage or requires intensive medical treatment. In case of lethal, directly or indirectly contributes to death of the patients. In some cases like tetracycline or chloramphenicol, they may produce the lethal effect. Chloramphenicol will produce the grave baby syndrome that you already know. The cyanosis will develop in the baby, in the pregnant lady, and that infant may die in the womb. It may happen. Now classification of ADR. In that, according to the A, B, C, D, E, F, there are almost 6 classes are there. Now we will see one by one. A, it is called augmented. Broadly, these ADR are can be classified by 2 ways. In that, A, predictable based on the pharmacological properties, and B, not predictable, both based on the immunological response and genetic makeup of person. Predictable means what? Means we can predict. Now we will see first augmented. These are the based on the pharmacological properties of drug, so can be predicted. Means we can tell that by taking this drug. Suppose if I take codeine, so what codeine will produce? Constipation. It is predictable. We can tell that by having this drug we may have constipation, or by taking the calcium channel blockers, they will affect on our kidney. So like that, any drug, for example, by taking this chloramphenicol, what it is doing? It will do the bone marrow separation. It is predictable. By taking this drug, it may produce that effects. Or by taking the drug like sildenafil, what it will do? It will produce the decrease in blood pressure. So they are common and account for 75% of ADRs. Dose related and preventable, mostly reversible. Because we already know that by taking this drug, this tablet, it may produce this adverse events. So we are knowing that already. So by keeping that its adverse effect in our mind, we can plan our prescriptions. We can add the drug which will avoid that adverse events. So in this fashion, we can do it. Now there are certain examples. For example, anticoagulants. So the drugs like warfarin, heparin, they will produce the bleeding. We already know it will produce bleeding. So for controlling that, we will take the another drug. Antihypertensive, like alpha 1 antagonist, it may produce the hypotension. Anti-diabetic, insulin, it will produce the hypoglycemia, means our glucose level can be declined. So these all are nothing but the predictable. Now B type, bizarre or unpredictable, this is very dangerous one. Have no direct relationship to the dose or drug of the pharmacological mechanism of the actions. Means it don't have to do with the dose or the drug, which drug you are taking. It will produce the adverse effects. It is called unpredictable. It will develop on the basis of immunological reactions on the drug. It will produce the allergic reactions. For example, Stevens-Johnson syndrome, it is very dangerous syndrome. Why it is produced? It is produced by the beta-lactam antibiotics. Stevens-Johnson syndrome means the nodules are produced all over the body. Nodules are produced due to the allergic reactions, and drastic changes will occur in your body, and person can die also. You can search on Google what is Stevens-Johnson syndrome. Go for Google and you will find out the symptoms. What are they? Very dangerous symptoms. And not all have, very rare, it is the rarest rare condition. Only in 1 lakh in 1 lakh people, only one person may have, but it is very dangerous, very drastic. It can take your life, definitely. So that will produce, it is the allergic reactions. Next is genetic predisposition. So in the genetic predisposition, idiosyncratic reactions are there. We are having some genetic strand in our body, genetic bases are there that we are carrying with us from our grandparents, will proceed forward to our next generation, and into that genes we are having some allergic reactions for certain things, for certain drugs. For example, if you are having the allergy for brinjal, itching may occur, or our gums will swell. What it is called? It is called idiosyncratic reactions for typical things. Or for tomato, some people are having allergic reactions for tomato. So, and it will carry from one generation to the another generation. It may be. So it is called idiosyncratic reactions. More serious clinical outcomes with higher mortality and morbidity, and mostly requires immediate withdrawal of the drug. So if you are having that problem, we should immediately withdraw that drugs from our treatment. Now see is chronic use. They are usually associated with the cumulative long-term exposure of the drug. For example, analgesic, NSAID. If you are taking this drug for longer period, it will produce the interstitial nephritis, papillary sclerosis and necrosis. It will drastically affect on our kidneys, and it will produce the renal failure also if you take for longer period. But it won't happen with all. It may happen or won't happen. So it is predictable. We can avoid that. So by avoiding that drug, that's why if you are taking NSAID, don't take a single drug for longer period. Make it take it combination, or change the drug after a few period if you want it at any cost. If you are having arthritis, in that case of arthritis only you have to take the drug. You want the prolonged therapy. So in that case, after a few days, change the drug, change the therapy. Means no accumulation and no cumulative effect you will get, no chronic effects, no chronic toxic effects you will get. Now type D delayed. These manifest themselves with significant delay. Teratogenicity. Now we have already know that what is thalidomide. Thalidomide tragedy was there in 1865. It will almost go for 2 to 3 decades, and it have produced the phacomelia condition. What is phacomelia? This is the word is there, phacomelia. PHOCOMELIA, phacomelia or phacomelia. It is a condition. It is condition when the newborn baby don't have arms, don't have limbs, even both arms and both legs. It don't have both arms and both legs. It is very dangerous condition. So it is called phacomelia, and it was produced by the drug thalidomide. And why thalidomide was taken? Thalidomide was taken by the pregnant lady. For which symptom? It is given, or it has been prescribed by the gynecologist. For which symptom? For morning sickness. What is morning sickness? Morning sickness is the condition when we are having that complication only in morning. For example, in the morning we may have sneezing, we may have common cold, we may have emesis, vomiting sensation, we may have gastric upset. So that sort of complication will produce only in morning. When as the day progresses, it will nullify, it will disappear. So it is called morning sickness. So in the morning sickness, for their problems, the gynecologist was prescribing that drug thalidomide, and the thalidomide was able to produce this phacomelia like condition in the pregnant lady. When the newborn baby was there, it don't have any arms, it don't have any limbs, so it was very dangerous condition. So that effect is called as teratogenesis or teratogenic effect. It is called teratogenic effects. When any effect, any life-threatening effect, or any permanent change or a permanent damaged effect was produced in pregnant lady to the fetus or lady itself, it is called teratogenic effects. So in that, the dangerous teratogenic effects was produced by this drug. That's why after a few decades the drug was banned by all over the world, not in US but also it is banned all over the world. Now this drug is no more in use due to its teratogenic effects. Now next is mutagenesis or carcinogenesis. What is mutagenesis? Mutagenesis is the condition when the mutation occurs in our cells, and after the, now our normal cells are reproduced in our body by the cell division. But when the new cell develops, when in that cell if a single sequence has been changed, we are having normal DNA sequence, if a single sequence, suppose if C will join with T, if suppose in place of T it will join with the A, in that case the sequence has been changed. Due to that single sequence, that cell will become mutant cell. It is, and after mutation the cell will become abnormal, and that abnormal cell is give rise to have cancerous cell. Understood? So it is called mutagenesis. It will develop into the cancerous cells, or or carcinogenesis or cancerogenesis. Okay, so mutation in our normal cell is responsible for cancer, and that condition is also responsible due to this ADR. Because what is this cancer? When you are taking these drugs or chemicals or pesticides for longer period, when you are taking anything or any color for longer period, definitely it will produce into the cancers. You might be aware of that from last decades there are a bunch of a huge number of people are suffering from cancer. Why? Because whatever food we are taking, whatever even milk we are taking, it is not from natural resources. Even the cow or the buffaloes are taking the injections, they are getting the chemicals, oxytocin, due to which they are increasing their milk production. Even in our soil, no a single farmer is there who is honestly doing his farming without using fertilizer, because everyone wants the production, and for that we are pouring a bunch of chemicals, fertilizers into our soil, and due to which whatever the crop we are getting, they are having the n number of chemicals, and these chemicals we are taking as a source of food, and unnecessarily we are increasing the intake of chemicals, though we are taking it is from natural sources, but it is not natural. Naturally we are taking the chemicals inside our body, and due to which we are giving rise to the carcinogenesis. Mind it well, it is a fact. That's why from last 2-3 decades the people from cancer are increasing, the cancerous patients are increasing in our India as well. And the other are tardive What is tardive It is also called as tardive Kinesia means speed. Dyskinesia means when we are having difficulty to do our function normally, when we are decreasing our speed of walking, when you are shivering, when you are pick up the cup of tea, we are having too much time to take that. It is called dyskinesia. Sluggishness is there in your speaking also. You are speaking, you are giving response very slowly. It is called tardio-dyskinesia. When you are doing any work very slowly. When it happens, you might be aware of that in the old age people mostly. They are having this tardio-dyskinesia, isn't it? They are wake up very slowly, they are sit very slowly, they will walk very slowly, isn't it? So it is called tardio-dyskinesia. Okay, so why it develops? It develops during the L-DOPA Parkinson's disease treatment, because in case of the Parkinson's treatment, what happens in Parkinsonism? There is a lack of dopamine, right? So dopamine level has been declined from the substantia nigra, isn't it? From where the release of the neuron, release of the dopamine neuron is there, and dopamine will release from that substantia nigra towards your caudate nucleus, isn't it, in the midbrain, and after that the dopamine innervation will occur and you will do your function normally. It will go to your basal ganglia, right? What happens in that? There is no release of dopamine, due to which what you have to do? You have to give the dopa or dopamine externally. So for that you are giving the L-DOPA. We are giving the L-DOPA. It is, what is that? It is the isomer of dopamine. So you are giving externally this dopamine and you are trying to increase the level of dopamine. But when you are giving this dopamine externally for longer period, it will produce the condition like tardio-dyskinesia. The same thing will happen in case of the treatment of the antipsychotic treatment. When you are taking the antipsychotic drugs for longer period, it will also produce this tardio-dyskinetic like conditions. So it is also predictable. Now type E, end of use, means simply it is a withdrawal symptom. Suppose if any person is taking alcohol from last so many years, from last 4 to 5 years, and suddenly if you will stop his alcoholism, what will happen? The person will become restlessness, he will fight with you for alcohol, for getting money, and he will do lots of things. The itchingness is there, restlessness is there, sweating is there, the anger is there, aggressiveness is there, increase in blood pressure, increase in heart rate, palpitation, all these things are there. So these all are nothing but the withdrawal symptoms. So not only it happens with the alcoholic patient, but also it will happen with the barbiturate patients, patient who was the person who are taking the drugs, who are taking the narcotic and psychotropic drugs like codeine, heroin, these ketamine or cocaine, like that. So here also the drugs like the phenobarbitons, if you are taking that drug and suddenly if you will stop that, it will produce the rebound phenomena. It is called rebound insomnia. So it will produce the rebound insomnia. What is insomnia? When a person is not able to sleep completely lost, it is called insomnia. So the rebound insomnia may produce when you are suddenly stop that. Now next example are sudden withdrawal of long-term therapy with beta blockers can induce rebound tachycardia and the hypertension. Now if any person is taking the beta blockers for longer period, so and you will suddenly stop that, what will happen? It will produce the tachycardia. What is tachycardia? When there is increase in your heart rate than normal. Now what is normal heart rate? It is 72 beats per minute. When it reaches to the 90 beats per minute, it is called tachycardia. And also hypertension, when there is increase in blood pressure than normal. What is normal? It is 80/120. So it is also predictive one. Now next is pharmacovigilance. What is pharmacovigilance? It is science and activities related to the detection, assessment, understanding and prevention of adverse effects or any other drugs related problems. So nowadays this pharmacovigilance department, they are having lots of opening in this pharmacovigilance. My lots of students are getting jobs in pharmacovigilance after B.Pharm or after M.Pharm. It is very nice department of pharmacology field. When we are in touch with the patients, what are the patients are there, how they are increasing or decreasing their therapeutic effects. We are constantly monitoring the patients. We are under the trial of patients when the patients are getting the medications. So we are doing their detection, whether they are recovered or not, recovering or not, what is the recovery rate. Assessment means what changes are there in our body, whether RBC count decrease, increase, or temperature has been declined or inclined, or any change has been occurred. So we are keeping watch on patients, understanding if any change has been occurred, we are understanding that, we are interpreting that, and after understanding, interpreting, next time what you are doing, prevention of adverse effects, means that drug we won't give, or we will decrease the dose, or we will do something with our therapy. It is that all are related with your pharmacovigilance. Okay, the information generated in useful in educating doctors and in the official regulations of the drug use. It is very helpful for the doctors. Now currently doctors are getting the information from lots of clinical trial data, and we are educating the doctors, physicians, that you should go for this therapy, don't follow this therapy, because due to this therapy it will produce this adverse drug reactions. What is our main goal? To avoid the adverse drug reactions, because due to that lots of people are losing their life, because in certain cases we have to take that, but how we can prevent the adverse drug reactions, that is our primary goal. We have to take the drug, but during that what we should avoid, how we can tackle with the ADR, that is our important goal. It has an important role in rational use of medicines, as it provides the basis for assessing safety medicines. Now here also important role of rational drug use. What is rational drug use? Do you know there are two types of drug use? One is rational drug use, another is irrational drug use. What is rational drug use? When we are giving the drug, when you are giving the drug at proper dose, for proper time, for proper therapy, it is called rational drug use. And when you are prescribing the drug unnecessarily, for unnecessary use and for unnecessary period, it is called irrational drug use. Now various activities involved in the pharmacovigilance are post-marketing surveillance and other methods of ADR monitoring, such as voluntary reporting by doctors, prescription, event monitoring. So in that post-marketing surveillance, we are visiting to the doctors, we are grabbing all the information, that what report they are getting from the patients, whether this drug is safe or not, that is very important. And disseminate of ADR data through drug alert, medical letters, advisories sent to doctors by pharmaceuticals and regulatory agencies. And immediately we should give this data, you should pass on this data toward the various authorities to make action on that. Changes in the labeling of medicines, indications, restrictions in use, or statutory warnings, precautions, or even withdrawal of the drug. Now there is the International Center for ADR Reporting. ADR Reporting Center is there internationally. It is called Uppsala Monitoring Center, which is at Sweden, and it is the international collaborative center. In India also at various places the center is there. At National Center is located at Ghaziabad, at near New Delhi, Ghaziabad. And peripheral centers are at medical colleges levels and tertiary and above hospitals. Reports generated by doctors, paramedical staff, and the peripheral centers, national centers, Uppsala monitoring centers. Completion of data. After completion of data, we are visiting to these centers and we are giving the information to them. Now prevention of adverse effects to the drugs. Avoid inappropriate use of drugs. In that inappropriate use of drugs, drug administration is dose. So whatever dose you are giving, it should be proper, not increase or decrease the dose. dosage form, it also should be proper. Duration, for almost how many period you have to give the drug. Routes, frequency, means after how many years or how many hours,